My guest today is a true example of life's infinite possibilities. She's someone who's done everything from real estate development to singing background for Mary J. Blige to presiding over some of daytime television's most memorable paternity cases. She is the Emmy Award-winning judge and executive producer of the daytime syndicated court shows Lauren Lake's Paternity Court and We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. She recently launched her highly anticipated YouTube series, Paternity Matters, on Judge Lauren Lake TV, where she helps guests resolve questions of paternity, reconcile relationships, and empowers devoted dads dealing with co-parenting issues. She is committed to helping others find their passions and live their purpose outside the box, break generational curses, grow their faith, create multiple streams of income, and launch their limitless lives. Please sign me up for that. Please welcome to the show the Honorable Judge Lauren Lake. Welcome to Intimate Details with Dr. Tim.
That was
Ma'am.
Are you tired now?
I am.
Thank you for that. Beautiful. That was a beautiful intro. Thank you.
Thank you for sending me the book.
You could have just said, I've been knowing her for years. Here she goes.
I know, right? But it's like, I started reading everything and I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to fit all of this into just a snippet? And there's no way. I started thinking about recently when Oprah had to introduce Michelle Obama, and she's like, this is someone that I don't need to mention. I don't need to there's nothing, no interest. And that's how I felt about introducing you. But listen, I had to bring it for the people because you have been in this game for so long. You have done so much. You need your flowers. You need your flowers. And we need to make sure the people know. Anybody that doesn't know, let me run it down for you today. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake is in our presence, and you better give her due, honey.
Thank you, sis. I appreciate you. And your resume is just as long. So I know it's hard to cut things out. But
listen, it is hard to cut things out. And listen, I was like, and that's like literally the first thing on my piece of paper here. I was like, I thought I did a lot, but sis has me beat. You have me beat, ma'am.
Well, I also have you beat in age. Done it all. So it's been a little more years.
We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that because I don't even know how old you are. So I'm not even going to say.
I'm not ashamed. All 54 and proud of it. So listen, I've been around a long time.
Yeah, not that much longer than me, but honey, black don't crack, so you look every bit of 35, okay? On my screen, okay? So I really do. I want to start right there. I want to talk to you about that because so many of us, right, are afraid to do so many things. And that was just glaringly obvious when I started reading through and prepping for the interview. Mama has done so many different things. People are out here afraid to try new things, afraid of starting over, thinking, I went to college for this one thing, or I've been in this industry for years. I kind of have an interest or a passion in this, but you, friend, have led with your heart. You've turned multiple talents and passions into not only multiple careers, but like we said before, multiple streams of income. I want to start today by doing a deep dive. And I might be running us into the ground. I know we were trying to keep this to 45 to an hour, but let's do a career deep dive because I know, because I've known you for several years, and just prepping for this, I learned so much about all of the things that you've done, singing with Mary J, Snoop, Diddy, Jay-Z, Dre, then interior design, real estate development, hosting a kitchen design show for HGTV, practicing law. I mean, madam, what else? What because I know I must be missing something. That can't be it.
There's a ton more things. I don't even need to. Look, I'm a firm believer in embracing our multifaceted lives and gifts. I believe everyone is multifaceted. I think, when we're children, we grow up with that limitless mindset that I try to get people to keep in their adult lives, where, you ask a kid what they want to be. It's like, I want to be a ballet dancer, a firefighter, a doctor, a this, and they name 100 things that they want to be. And then as we're socialized throughout our lives, people keep telling us now, well, we got to get in this box. If you're going to be this, you can't be this. Don't be a jack of all trades and a master of nothing. And I really can't stand that, because I believe that we can choose to be a Jack or Jill of any trade we choose to master. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean it happens all at the same time. The list you just named out, I was not doing all of that at once. Do the
God
gifts
bless.
to do those things run inside me all at once? Yes. But the actual practice of those things is not all at once. But it's a matter of embracing that at certain times, certain seasons, certain gifts come to the forefront, and don't be afraid to
Mm-hmm.
use them, and don't let other people put you in a box. I always say the only box I'm getting in is in my grave, and until then I'm
Woo!
gonna be doing and trying anything I want to try.
Absolutely. And see, I need you in my head because there are times when I talk myself like, I don't need to add another thing to my plate. I don't need to do this. I just need to focus on this one thing. And what you said is really key because I am an ideas person by nature. I constantly have things running through my mind and different projects and different passions that I want to pursue.
Yes.
But there is some methodology to that. Like I can't do everything at once. I have to be strategic. Doesn't mean that I can't touch on all these things, but like I really will run myself ragged trying to do it all at one time.
Right. Right, and you
Yeah.
will. I've done it many times before. Listen, I always tell people I do not speak from a place of perfection. I speak from a
Woo.
place of perspective. And you gain
Mm-hmm.
perspective by living through it, going through it,
Yeah.
falling down,
Yeah.
figuring out how to get back up, wearing yourself out. And it's, I
Mm-hmm.
always say a limitless life, a limitless mindset. It's a practice, right? I mean, I will
Mm-hmm.
run myself into the ground still today and have to reel myself back out of it because I know what it
Yeah.
is and then I know what I need to do. And so I relate very much to you saying you're an ideas person and you want to try to do all of these things, but it's important for you to stop sometime and just say, okay, what's the three things I really want to accomplish right now? And then
Yeah.
prioritize those three,
Yeah.
understanding that one or two is going to get the most of your attention. And maybe the
Yeah.
third one is going to be in a growing phase. But
Yeah.
I am just not a believer in people trying to, I always say, do not let someone else's one dimensional perspective of you destroy your
Mm-hmm.
multifaceted destiny. Because other people will have a one dimensional perspective of who you are. And guess what?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with you, it has to do with
Nothing.
them. So you don't
Absolutely.
let that in. And so I think we become fearful to be in many things. People feel like people won't take us seriously. We're all over the place. And I just had to get rid of that fear and do me. I've been doing this a long time and I had to get rid of that
Yeah.
fear. And it's so funny because the very people that would say, well, how you going to be a lawyer and sing in a band? How you going to be a lawyer and go on tour? Okay, watch me. There's the same people
Watch
20
me.
and 30 years later are calling me saying, now, how do I? How do
Yes.
I?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
sometimes the very people that condemn you are the ones you'll be counseling later.
You are so right. I read a book. Oh my gosh, the name of it is escaping me right now, and it was The Dream Giver. I believe is the name
Mm-hmm.
of the book, The Dream Giver, and they talk about it's a spiritual based book, but it talks a lot about um, the people in your life that can be kind of a roadblock to your blessing,
Mm-hmm.
and that God puts these dreams. This was a profound. This book made a dramatic impression on me. It's horrible that I can't remember the exact name and the exact author right now, but I will. I'll post it. I'll tag it below in the show notes. It talks about how there are border bullies. There are people that are lined up as you're starting to transition and do the different things that you want to do. You vocalize it because you're so excited about it. It's this passion of yours. And they tell you all the reasons why you shouldn't do it, or you
Oh
can't
yeah.
do it, or no one in our family has ever been able to do it. To
Yeah.
not always to discourage you, but to
Mm-mm.
keep you from falling into the pitfalls that maybe someone else did without realizing you're destined to do this. Perhaps the reason that didn't happen for this person is it wasn't for them. The dream
Yes.
is always placed in your heart. God talked to you about it. He didn't talk to them about it. He talked
Right.
directly to you and told you exactly what you needed to do. It's not going to make sense to them. It's
It's
never
not
going to
gonna
make
make sense
sense
to
to them
them.
until
And
you
they
make it
might
plain.
have,
Yeah.
right. And maybe it was a part of their path and their journey for them to fail at that, to set them up and grow lessons for
Right.
the things that they're supposed to succeed at. And maybe
Right.
you are the person that is called to do that, and you do it. And I always say, scripture tells us that I can do all things through
All
Christ, right?
things.
It doesn't say some
Mm-hmm.
things, it doesn't say convenient things, it doesn't say
Mm-hmm.
easy things, it says all things.
All
Now, it
things.
also didn't say everything all at the same time. So
Ooh.
I just believe that my God gives us it gives us a foundation for our
Yeah,
dreams and for our lives. And whether we want to walk
absolutely.
into that or not is
Right.
really up to us. It's up
One
to
of
us. And I just
yes.
kind of made the decision, quite frankly, out of survival, because I was never a person that just, if I was just going to law school and I wasn't singing in my band, then I was just like, okay, I mean, now what?
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
I was going to law school, singing in a band, and also trying to figure out how to start a clothing store, I felt alive. I felt
Yeah.
alive. It's who I am. And it's
Yeah.
another
It's
thing
who
that
you are.
we are all not wired the same. Some of us
Mm-hmm.
really, I always think about, an interview with Prince a while back when they were talking about, well, this was many years ago, but I looked at it a while back, and he was talking
Uh-huh.
about how he had no plan B, right?
Mm.
And it
Mm.
was music. That's what he was doing. It was no plan B. And it's funny to me because I'm like, well, I got 87 plans. You know what I mean? Like at all
Yes.
times. And, and,
At
and,
all
and that's
times.
okay. Yeah, my plan A is like 87 parts.
This is
So
why we connect so well, because I got
yeah,
87 plans too.
like right now. Okay. Right now.
Yes. Yes.
So
Absolutely.
and that's okay. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been a real proponent of people just kind of learning how to set boundaries with the people in their lives who are the naysayers, because
Mm-hmm.
you will look up, and I'll call it the shoulda woulda coulda life. And I just said I
Mm-hmm.
refuse to be sitting on my porch at God willing at 85, 86 talking about what I shoulda coulda woulda done.
Oh yeah.
I'm
And
gonna be
that's a
talking about what I did, what I tried, what I
yes.
failed, what I won at, when I
Mm-hmm.
lost. But at least I was in it. I was in the
You
fight.
were in it. You was all up in it, honey. I mean, them nursing home stories gonna be good. I
I ain't
can
going to no nursing
listen.
home. Oh, come on, CJ, don't put me in the nursing home. Actually, maybe one of those fabulous ones, though. They're getting real fabulous
Listen,
now.
listen. I used to do some volunteer work at one when I worked for this mental health treatment facility, and I would go over there and talk to the folks. Honey, there was wine, there was a whole bar.
Yeah,
They'd have cocktail hour. They'd
yeah.
have their crafts. They'd go on these fabulous little trips. They wouldn't have to. Somebody was always there to cater. Honey, I was like, this is. And I told my mom, I'm like, listen, act up if you
Yeah,
want to. I'll put you
right.
somewhere nice. Okay. I'll put you somewhere nice. I got a
Oh,
place
that's
where
so
we
funny.
talked about it this weekend. She was like, you said you were going to put me in a nursing home. I was like, that we're way off from that. We're way off. But honey, I tell you, you're going to be sitting in style when you
Oh,
go.
I
Don't you
love it.
worry. Yeah, but no, God willing, she will be with us forever and ever and ever and ever. One of the
Amen.
things amen. One of the things that I wanted to really have you on and talk to you about was something. I wanted to talk to you about something, and more importantly, someone who
Yes.
I know is very much instrumental in you becoming the Renaissance woman that I know you to be, and that is your dear dad. And for
Yes.
those of you out there listening who don't know, Lauren recently lost her dear father, Dr. Marshall John Howard Jr. Lauren,
Yes.
please tell us about your daddy.
Oh, my daddy, I would say he was a force, but he still is a force, because I very much
Yes.
feel that he is still with me. Just
Yes.
a force of light, of empowerment. He
Mm-hmm.
truly believed in each and every person showing up in life fully. Show
Mm-hmm.
up, and
Mm-hmm.
wherever you are. And he was born in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We say
Mm-hmm.
under the shadows of the University of Michigan. And as a young Black boy growing up, my grandmother worked as a domestic in the community, and he just declared he would go to that school. And he
Mm-hmm.
worked and played sports and was the top of his class, and ended up earning a scholarship to the University of Michigan. Graduated from there, and that's why I went there. Go Blue, Daddy! And
Mm-hmm.
he was an educator for 40 something years, but I think the power that he possessed was in making every person somehow believe that individually and singularly they were so very important to them and their lives and their success. There are countless stories from people in my family, all over the community, of people who he just mentored privately, talking to them about their dreams, what they want to do, and how they can never quit unless they get to that dream. And that was really
Mm.
coming from his dream to go to the University of Michigan and be a successful man in the my dad was born in 1938. So
Mm.
he really shaped who I am, as well as my
Yeah.
mother, who I lost my
Yeah.
mom 17 years ago. So she has a
Mm.
different part to my life that she helped shape. But my
Mhm.
father was very big on authenticity. And I think that's something that I have used in my entire career and life that has served me, and I encourage others to do as I talk to them about what it means to live a limitless life. One of his
Yeah.
famous and favorite phrases was, don't pretend to be who you don't intend to be. And
Ooh.
I think of that all the time. I give that advice all the time because I think we live in a culture and a society now where we've made it okay to pretend to be something you're absolutely not, and you never
Mhm.
intend to be, because
Right.
it gets you attention, or it gets you likes, or it gets you followers, or it gets you money, or it gets you whatever it may be. But it's fleeting and it's fake,
Yeah.
and it
It's not
often leads to
sustainable. It's
and
not
that was it. It said,
sustainable.
and it leads to failure, right?
Yeah.
And so when we embrace that authenticity, we begin to tap into this limitless well, right? Because it's us, it's who we are.
Mhm.
And we aren't
Mhm.
created to be shallow beings. We are created to live and grow and reproduce. Like you see a plant, as long as we are
Yeah.
watered with the right people, the right spirits, the right
Hello.
souls, the right words we speak over ourselves. So my father helped me
Mhm.
understand that, and I just ran with it. He always
Yeah,
said he
you
was my
sure
number
did.
one fan, but the truth is, I was his.
Yeah. Yeah, and he is where that limitless mindset, it seems like, came from for you,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
Oh my gosh. I can only imagine, you so graciously shared so many beautiful moments and memories from his homegoing service of you, of your son CJ. And now never met your dad, but I started tearing up
Yeah.
watching. There's a story that you tell about the horse, getting back on the horse. And I mean,
Yes.
I started, but I was doing like I'd seen it before. I saw it when you originally posted it, but I went back on your feed just to kind of look at some other things and make sure I was asking the right questions today and talking about the right things. And oh my gosh, what a man.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the stock from which you come.
Yes. Yes. I mean, he and my mother were both just incredible people. And I'm very blessed to have that. It's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about helping people find their
Mhm.
fathers, because of what a pivotal role my father played in
Mm.
my life. And I'm very blessed. Like I said, young girl growing up in Detroit, to have two parents who were, incredibly intelligent and passionate about my future. My brother, I have a brother as well, and really
Mhm.
helped create a foundation where we could do and become anything we wanted. And that
Yeah.
is the legacy I try to pass down to my son. When you heard CJ, kind of talking
Mhm.
about my father at his homegoing
It
service,
was so
everybody was just
amazing.
in awe of him. But that's
Yes.
how he was raised. Like, that is who he is. And
Yeah.
in the moment he showed up. And he said it. I want to
Yes.
say something about Pop Pop. I said, okay. And I didn't know what he was going to say. And he got up there and did it without reading anything. It just off the top of his head, imitated him, and talked about the last time my father had to get him together. Like I said, go to bed and get, and that just let me know that truly, although our bodies leave this earth, our
Mhm.
spirit
Oh,
never
yes.
dies. What we teach each other never
Yes.
ever dies. Yeah.
Absolutely. And somehow, some way, you were able to belt out of him,
Girl,
honey. How?
I knew he would want me
Where
to.
did you pull that out from?
I
The
sang at my
blood of
mother's funeral.
Jesus.
I sang at my mother's funeral. I knew my father would want me to do it. I knew it.
Yeah.
And I just said, I'm going to do it. And that's what I think um, I found in this life, that when you have the strength, you know when to tap into
Mhm.
it. I also have learned when
Mhm.
to put that strength aside and just sit with my feelings, sit with my grief, right? Sit with just the
Mhm. Mhm.
sorrow. But when I
Mhm.
need to, I can come in and show up and do what I need to do. And if I'm being very honest, and I know you'll get this, because this is your world. But the funeral part is very much similar to a production, right?
Oh,
I
yes.
am
Oh, yes.
producing a
Yes.
day that reflects
Yes.
upon my father's life and legacy. And there are various
Mhm.
components that will bring us to that end. And, as a person who is in this industry, in this business, I was going to
Mhm.
see that through. So I was
Yes.
almost, just in a different mode. And I say this, learning this
Yeah.
from my mother's passing as well. It's not that time when I fall apart. I'm the person
Right.
that when it all gets quiet later, it might be
Yes.
30, 45 days later, 60 days later, and I sit and go,
Mhm.
oh Lord, it's been a long time since I talked to
Yep.
my daddy. And it just hits you like,
Yes. It's
oh,
a wave.
you, so that for me is how I kind of operate. So to get up and sing and do those things, it was really me trying to do what my father would have me do and to represent him
Yes.
well. And that's all I've ever wanted
Absolutely.
to do is represent him well.
And I feel like that a lot of people can resonate with that, that can connect with that because many of us, if we've lost someone, have been on autopilot just trying to get through the day
Yeah. Yeah.
of the service.
Yeah.
But the real grieving and the real dealing really happens after everyone
Yep.
leaves, after nobody else is bringing food over to the house, after the calls slow
Right.
down. And yeah, that's when it really hits you
Yep.
how lonely this
And that's
world
kind of
is
where
without this
I've been
person.
now.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of where I am now. I'm probably at the what, April, May, June, July. I'm about at the 4 month mark. So I've been through that
Yeah.
these last 60 days
Yeah.
of just okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, and just really
And it's
having to
tough.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so tough because you don't know this world without him.
Mm-mm.
You're
No, and
learning
it's
what the world is like without him at this point, right?
learning what the world is like and almost a rebirth of me trying to figure out who I am without him, right?
Mm.
I've never known my life without him. So
Yes.
now
Mhm.
who am I? Now I've done that rebirth with losing my mother because a motherless feeling is something crazy too,
Something
because it's,
different. Yeah.
that's your vessel. So you're like, oh,
Yes.
all right, I'm out here by myself.
Mhm.
And then having my
Mhm.
father, though, he was the type of man, he took up so much space when my mother passed. He didn't miss a
Mhm.
thing. He was here. He was there. He was there for CJ being born. He just didn't miss anything. And so with him
Yeah.
gone, now the gaping hole is there. And it really
Yeah.
caused me to go back and kind of have to grieve a little bit of my mother's death even deeper,
Mhm.
stuff I put away, to then also deal with that. And I mean, it's a load. It's a load to
Yeah.
carry. I'm just
How are you
very
take
blessed that I have people that pour into me, love me, support me. And, I'm a true believer that one day I will see them both again. And when
for
I
sure.
do, I want a good report.
A time will be had. A time
Yes,
will
a
be had.
time will be had.
How are you taking care of yourself? Because I know you're a busy gal, okay? You're a woman
Yes.
about town doing everything that you need to do to sustain yourself, to sustain your life, your son. How are you pouring back into yourself and taking care of yourself?
Now, that is a real struggle. If I'm being very transparent, I am
Mhm.
very bad at self care, but I'm learning. I have committed over these last, I think it was when I turned 53 last year, that I really
Mhm.
committed to more self care, which I was doing pretty good at it. Then, of course, life gets to life and you kind of fall
Yeah.
off. Um, and then with my father's passing, I have really been trying to take a break. Like this year, I actually traveled probably for about a full month. I was gone in and out, different
Mhm.
countries. Now, I would never do that. I mean, because I love what I do. So I won't vacation, but which is why I have these braids because I was gone. And
They cute.
and I loved it, right? I loved it. I loved
Mhm.
separating myself from just the world
Mhm.
that I've created for myself. You know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah.
I loved
Yeah.
almost leaving it because it, number one, made me understand who I am without that whole world. And then number
Yes.
two, how much I really appreciate it and lets me see clearer the adjustments that I need to make in it to
Yeah.
make it, more of what I need. And so I've been trying to do better at that. Just um simple things like cutting everything off when I have my cup of tea and not returning that text when I do it. Just the
Oh, that's a
little
good one.
things, allowing myself time to sit in the car and play some music for absolutely no reason when I really
Yeah.
could keep it moving, but just do it. Have a
Yeah.
lunch. Don't work
Yeah.
while I'm eating the lunch. So there are little things that I've been trying to employ because a
Yeah.
self-care has always been a challenge for me. I'm not that, I always say, oh, I want to be one of those ladies that get their hair done every week at the same time. I love those ladies who have that standing nail appointment and
The
hair
standing
appointment
appointments.
and everything. I have never done that. Like I just be running up in the place. Oh, I need my nails done today. Let me find or just like I just
Yes.
got these braids.
Yes.
Oh Lord, let me call Angie, see if she can do them today.
Yes.
It's always that. And so I have been trying to carve space to consistently do things for myself. And travel is something I
Prioritize
really
you.
enjoy. To
Yeah.
prioritize me, and to what I've learned as well is I'm not really that great at staycations because I'll just keep working. So now
Yeah.
my new thing is take the trip, go out of the country, separate yourself from it so that you can really just have a minute. And I've been doing that and it's been working.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of
Thank
you.
you.
Self-care is definitely a muscle that we all must exercise.
Yep.
And when we don't, your muscles atrophy. You're gonna
No,
lose
it's
those
true. And I
muscles
see you with
when
your
you don't do it.
gardening and all of that. And I'm like, now I want to do that
Honey,
next. I want to garden like Dr. Tiff.
honey, this ain't for everybody. When I tell you I'm so stressed out, it's stress. I love it. It is something that I found that I'm really super passionate and it brings me joy and like I love it. But the things, and this is life,
Yes.
okay? The things that are outside of our control in the
Mm-hmm.
gardening realm is driving me mad. Right now, I have a deer that
Oh,
came in last night. I have a video, I'm going to post it a little bit later. Mowed roses,
oh no.
hydrangeas,
Oh,
Shasta daisies, like things that I've been working on. Now, I believe, and this is such a tangent, I believe that I manifested that because
okay.
the other day, the deer was there. He'd been there the night before in the front yard, and I noticed, okay, he ate some Shasta daisies, he ate these sweet potato vines. Like, I know he's been here because I know his
Mm-hmm.
bite. I know what
Mm-hmm.
it looked like when he been here. And I said, you know what, God, I'm okay. I don't like it, but I'm okay. I will take this rather than him eating my vegetables in the back.
Okay.
So
Yes.
he went back to the back of the house and he ate everything except the vegetables. the next day.
Well,
The next
small
day.
victories. Small
And
victories.
so I'm like, I'm sitting here like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And what he does, this is such a tangent. I'm so sorry for the people listening.
That's okay.
What he does, Lauren Lake, the Honorable Judge Lauren Lake, what he does, he don't wait until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock when I might be kind of still up. He don't even wait until 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock when, I might hear it because I'm not fully asleep.
Right.
He waits until 5:30 in the morning when I'm trying to get the last good minutes of sleep. So I'm not waking up. That's the point where you push the snooze button a couple times because
Yes.
you just don't want to get up. That's when he comes. That's when he comes and mows
Well,
everything down because he's like, she ain't getting out of bed at this time.
I would say he's out of order. However,
He is.
in his world, we on his land. So
Exactly.
in his world, where did we come from?
Where did we come from? Exactly. And he's walking right up to the house. He is on the
Yes.
other side of a window. He don't care. He knows like she in there sleep, child. She can't get out of her bed.
I'm
She
about
love
to
that
eat
bed.
right now. Let me get some stuff.
Yup. She's like,
Snack
and,
bars
and you know,
open.
exactly. It reminds me of the mom that gets up before the house gets up. And it's just like, ooh, I like to get up at 5:30. That's when I have peace in the house. It's so quiet. I can have
Yes.
my tea. I can read my scripture. I can do my devotion.
Yes.
That's the deer. He gets
Yes.
up before everybody else does, just
Yeah.
early enough. So he
Quality
can
time.
he has his
Early
little brunch
bird gets the worm.
and
Early
the
deer gets
hydrangeas.
the flowers and the vegetables.
Exactly. Well, like I said, we've gotten way off topic. I'm going to reel us back in because, I was listening to you a couple months ago on Jeff Lewis Live. I don't know if Jeff will remember. I've interviewed Jeff before probably like a decade ago when he was still doing Flipping Out. I don't know that he will ever remember me, but I do have a picture. I'm going to send it to you so you can show it to him. I interviewed Jeff Lewis Live, and I've been a fan of his since Flipping Out. And he is such a funny human being. I love him to death. You were on his show on Sirius XM. And this was right after your father had passed, but also like around the same time, Jerry Springer had passed as well.
Yes.
And the conversation kind of went to a post that you had posted on Instagram where the internet had done what it does and had developed or created a fictitious funeral program. And Sister Lauren Lake was tabbed with the musical selection.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
some folks on the internet really approved of this position for you, and others just thought it wasn't that funny. I thought it was a hoot and a half, and I think you found it funny as well. But what was the discourse about?
People were thinking, people were saying that, oh, if they would have made that about my father, I wouldn't have been laughing. And I'm thinking to myself, I would be cracking up. Because if you know my father, you know we would be cracking up about that. I think I got it from like Ricky Smiley's page. It was hilarious. And see, for me, I think humor through grief is important. I don't think
I do too.
Jerry, they were saying, I think Jerry's family would be so offended. I don't think so. I think they would
not
really
Jerry. I don't think so.
Right. And the legacy he left behind. I mean, that is one of the ways I think you remember people is just by the silliness. And look at my son. I mean, people may have criticized him. He got up and did a tribute to his pop and he imitated him. I mean, silly imitations. I mean, we all laughed. And I think that was one of the most beautiful moments of the funeral, or the times that we laughed about. And so I just disagreed with that. But, the internet is so sensitive. And every day somebody done stepped in it. So I said, well, today was my day. So we laughed at it on Jeff. Jeff, he posted it, put it up, everything. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy doing that show. And I've been doing it for probably 5-6 years now. Because we laugh. We laugh. Just do not take life too seriously over there. And we need that. We need that.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all grieve in different ways. And for me, I say this and I know it'll probably, I'll probably get the same pushback or whatever, but Lauren Lake, I love a good funeral.
Yes.
I do. I love a good funeral. I do. And that's something that my husband learned about me, early in our relationship. We had to go to a funeral of a family member, and I'm sitting there holding his hand. I'm laughing, like so many things are going on that is very unique. In particular, like a Black funeral is unmatched. It really, really is. We get in there and do so many, like the theatrics, the histrionics, the hymns, the heat,
all of it,
honey.
If you would have seen the guy that did
the time.
The guy on the organ at my dad's funeral was like, I mean, it was just, people were just like, where'd you get it from? I'm like, from the funeral home. They were like, oh, he was in the spirit, honey. George was getting us through. It was, in many ways, it is a production.
It is a production. It is a production.
Through love. It's through love. I mean, we were cracking up with the funeral home when we were doing the obituary because, my father is maize and blue. And so his entire service, down to his casket and the velvet lining, was maize with blue. It was, everything was color coordinated, which I'm from Detroit, so we know how to coordinate.
Y'all sure do.
Okay, we know how to coordinate. We're going to get this coordination together. And so we were all in there with the funeral home laughing. Shout out to Pie Funeral Home because they did that. They did all of the services incredible. But we were laughing because there was a beautiful obituary from a man in their sample book. And we were like, oh, Lord, by the time we get done with Dr. Howard's obituary, we're going to have to get replaced. This is going to be the new standard of obituary. And I mean, we were just having these silly conversations and laughing. And I'm telling you, it got me through. Make me laugh anytime. Anytime.
That's how you get
I love a good laugh.
Yes. And I think that's the best time. That's the best time to find the funny, find the weirdness, find the quirkiness, find those moments, because grief, as anyone who's been through it knows, grief is something that can be very dark, can be very, debilitating.
And it lingers. It lingers. My mother's been gone 17 years and it's still some days like yesterday where it just hit you. And you just, it'll like knock the wind out of you. Like, And then you'll be spinning. I want to go back in time. I don't want that to have
Yeah.
happened. I'm,
Yeah.
you know, and you're angry all over again. You're questioning God all over again. You this, and then somehow you
Hmm.
work your way back to your faith, and you just
Yeah.
accept, and
Yeah.
you just move forward.
Yeah, and the one piece of advice that I give people who've lost someone is to give themselves permission to feel all
Yes.
those things that you just talked about, because the grief is not just this linear thing. It's
Yeah.
and it's not circular either. It's kind of a roller coaster where we're going in and out through it, and sometimes it's steady, and then sometimes it just hits you like a ton of bricks. And we
Yeah.
have to give ourselves permission to feel everything that we're feeling, because ultimately one of the reasons why we feel all those things is because of our feelings for the person that we've lost.
Yeah.
You know, we don't get
Yep.
that. We don't get that without the love of your dad, without those memories, without his heart just being right there with yours at all times. Like, you don't, like, what would it be like for you not to feel those things? Like, I can't even
Exactly.
imagine.
Exactly.
I
I
can't
mean,
even imagine.
that's how you know you're alive. That's how you know you
Yeah,
were
that's like,
loved. That's kind of it
absolutely.
for me. And
Yeah.
I always tell people no one is exempt.
No.
All of us
Mm-mm.
experience it in some form or facet, and it just
Yeah.
seems like when you do, it's never the time. It's never the right time. It's like I said, my
Mhm.
father could have lived to 110, and it'd still be too soon.
Still, yep.
So, we
Absolutely.
just have to go through it. And it has been a true, true journey, right? Even to this
Yeah.
day. I'm blessed that I can kind of get on the phone with my brother. And sometimes we just sit on the phone and go, wow, this happened. Mom and dad are
Yeah.
gone. Like
Yeah.
we just looking at each other, like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of brings up to what is super important and what we need to hold on to,
That's
and
right.
hold extra close, and be more appreciative. What have you found in these last couple months that you are most appreciative of, or that you just want to hold on to a little bit more?
Well, I think one thing I am so grateful for is that, as much as I'm not a big steward of technology, because I'm not that good at it, everybody knows me, knows I'm not that great. The videos, the pictures, the memories I was able to
Mhm.
capture are just priceless to me. I don't have that. My
Yeah.
mother passed 17 years ago when it was just early cell phone use. We didn't have all of this, and
Yeah.
I don't have the footage of her, that I have of my father,
Yeah.
and I'm so grateful for that. But I think mostly what it is, it's the memories of the experiences, right? I'm
Mhm.
really big on that. My father was always big on that. Experiences. What experience are we going to have? Let's do it together. Let's do this. Let's do. And now I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for all of those experiences, those times when we just kind of did things out the box, the spontaneous things, the crazy moments. I'm grateful that he did get to be there when CJ was born. My mother had passed away then. Grateful for so many things. Grateful
Mhm.
to have had a father. Grateful,
Yes.
and I think about so many people who are here on this earth, whose fathers are here still on their earth, and they don't know, and they don't have a relationship. So I'm grateful that I knew him, and I knew he loved me, and he knew I loved him. So much gratitude, which is what I've been trying to
Yeah.
focus on, is the gratitude.
Yeah. You said a mouthful there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And we have to keep that at the forefront. We have to keep
Mm-hmm.
that part at the forefront of our grief. Let me ask you this before we move on, because there is one more thing that I really want to make sure that we talk about today. What is the weirdest or funniest thing that has ever happened to you at a funeral, or happened around you?
Oh, that's a good one. The weirdest or funniest thing that has ever happened to me at a funeral or around
We
me
can
at
say, yeah, we can even say most memorable.
most memorable. Now, see, I'm probably not a good person to ask because I am the resident funeral singer. So I am usually never
You're
in the
working.
mix of a funeral. I'm
Uh huh.
always, especially in my family, I'm always sitting over by the organist, ready to do what it is it needs to be
Uh
done.
huh.
But I will say, people think it's weird. It wasn't weird to us, but when you really think about it, it probably is. After my mother's funeral, we ended up having like a full pool party, which is,
Okay.
yeah. And that's not really, but if you knew,
It's
my
not
mother's home
usual.
was the
Yeah.
was the home where everyone would come to swim. Everyone would come to
Hmm.
relax. And it was just, everyone was so overcome with grief. No one knew what to do. And then we all just went into this channel of, just like it was when she was there, of like, well, the kids just get their bathing suits on and then everybody just get in the pool. And then we just about to order food and just fire up this. And it turned into a full, like and not a repast, like a party. We had a short repast and then it turned into a full on party,
Pool
music
party.
blaring, pool. And to me, that is, I love Black people for that.
Yeah.
The funeral don't end
Yes.
when the funeral ends. The repast ain't the end. You got to go back to somebody's
No.
house and it turns
No.
into an
Yes.
all night thing. So I would say that
Yes.
probably has been one of the things that, when I tell people, or I go, oh, and then we had a full pool party. They're like, what? Like, yeah,
It's what we
just like
do.
she was there.
It's what we do. It's what we do. I'll tell you, for me, the thing that has been coming up for me, and I've done this at least twice now, and I it's like hair and makeup.
Oh, the hair and
I've
makeup?
had to do, I've had to redo it because it wasn't right.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I would have ever said, Tiffany, you're going to be, doing your best friend's hair before her funeral on the day of, because they will have done it wrong and she would not have want that. But
Oh, yeah.
I, makeup too. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
am the girl, just so you know, Judge, I am the girl that will touch you up. I am the girl that will not let you go out like that. I know how you like to be beat. I know.
Okay.
And so
Oh,
if
no.
I have to call Dee Dee Kelly myself, if I got
Okay.
to call Tony Acey,
I
I will
already
say, ladies,
I
let's get it
already
together.
told. I'm like, listen, have me together. And it's funny you say that, because now, see, that doesn't even seem weird or crazy to me, because I am dead serious about that. And my mom
Uh-huh.
was like that.
Uh-huh.
I made sure her eyebrows were the way she would do them. I was all in there.
That
And
part.
maybe, yeah. Yeah. I mean, and when her friends walked in, her golf friends, when they first opened the family hour, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just fully over inside the casket with my
Mm-hmm.
MAC brush. And then they're
Mm-hmm.
like, what is going on here? But it's like,
Mm-mm.
no, we got to get it right. We got to represent.
You got to get it right. You got to get it
I
right.
want it
What I
right. I
said was,
want it
no,
right.
you're not coming back haunting me because you look like that in your casket and I
No,
could have
I'm a
done something about
believer.
it. Give me that
Keep
curl cream. Let me twist it. I'm going to do it exactly. No,
keep
nope.
me
This ain't
together.
how it's
Keep
done.
me
I,
all the way together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is probably the thing. I never thought I was that girl until I had to do it. And it was a family member that asked, like, can you just redo her hair? And then I'm like, okay, but the makeup ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
So now we got to do the makeup too, because that's not
Yes.
right. That she don't wear her. No, she lines her lip with this and then she puts this on. That ain't how it's done.
And
And
get
I've
it
had to do
right.
that.
Hey,
And
as my
get it
daddy would
right.
say, get it right.
Get it right. You got to get
Yeah.
it right, because I will say it again. Ain't nobody coming to holler at me in the
Mm-mm.
afterlife.
Mm-mm.
Don't come back. Don't come back for me. I'm gonna do
Mm-mm.
what I'm supposed to do, and I'm gonna
Mm-mm.
send
And
you
I don't
off
want
like
the
you were supposed to
karma.
be sent off.
I don't want the karma either.
Not at all.
Right.
So before we go, what is next for you? Tell us all about your new YouTube series, Paternity Matters, on Judge Lauren Lake TV. Tell us about it. How is it different from Paternity Court and We the People?
Yeah. It's not set in a courtroom, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
I am still currently serving as judge of We the People, syndicated court show, and we have a great time over there, helping
Yes.
families, people resolve the legal issues that are completely holding them back from moving on in life. And I'm having a great time. But one of the things that the audience and everybody kept saying is, we want to see you do paternity all the time. We want to see you do more paternity. We want to see you help more families. And the truth is, I truly do love and have a passion for helping people resolve questions of paternity. I did that for 7 seasons on Paternity Court. I still get to do it on We the People, but in a different way. And so for Paternity Matters, I just decided, after my father passed, to be very honest, I needed something to stay busy with. And we were on hiatus. We only had like one more session to shoot of We the People. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to get out there, and as an ode to my father, I'm going to help people find their fathers, and I'm going to help people reconnect with the fathers that they've lost, or the children that they've lost connection with. And so We started about this myself, my Leah Taylor and Sabrina Thompson, executive produced with me. And we have had just the most amazing season. So it's a show. It airs on YouTube, my channel, Judge Lauren Lake TV. And we really do help people reconcile the relationships they have with their father if they're fragile or non-existent. We help people, figure out if we can't resolve the question of paternity, where do we go from there? And we also acknowledge really great dads and help them through some of the things that sometimes it's very hard for them to understand in terms of co-parenting, child custody, and empower fathers. I can't tell you how many times, on paternity court, a father would talk about how he hasn't seen his kids because he got behind on his child support. And I'm like, well, wait a minute now. Just because you're behind on your child support, that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to see your child. Now, that's totally different. And, they would really be looking like, well, they said I couldn't come because I had, no, that's not work like that. That's not the law. And so trying to empower people to think deeper about their situations and how they can find resolution and reconciliation. So Paternity Matters is a labor of love for me, a passion project. Yeah. And I'm really thankful for everybody that supported. A lot of great stories, real people, real dramas. And we've got 4 episodes up now on Judge Lauren Lake TV.
Oh, I'm so excited. And it seems like a beautiful way to even honor your relationship with your dad. I think what I heard underneath all of that is I wasn't ready to deal with the grief fully.
Right.
So I had to find me another thing to do once.
That's it. I had to find
once
another
everything
production.
was over. Yeah.
I had to find another production.
So Mama created one and put it on Judge Lauren Lake TV on YouTube. I love it. I love
That's it.
I love it. And this is the pivot.
You heard correctly.
I'm picking up what you're laying down, girl.
Yes.
I'm picking it up. And you know what? We all have to channel things in different ways. One of the things though, and you know this from a high level, that we can run from it is going to catch up with us. But in the meantime, in between time, what I see you doing is honoring him, honoring the legacy of your dad, making sure that you're still connected through him, through this work, through this work.
Yes.
He shows up. It sounds like he's showing up every day with you to work.
Every day in every way. And it's something I talked about doing when he was alive. I told him it's something that I wanted to do. And then just like my father, it was that push, and you're right. It might have been not to deal with it, but I really just felt that push, like, let me do it now. Like exactly what I said I was going to do. I know exactly what he wants me to do. And what we talked about, I'm doing it. And I just did it. I just didn't look back. So grateful that it's done. And now I will be, I'm taking that time, taking those vacations, letting those tears fall, sitting quietly with my memories. Right. And like I said, grief has no design, no blueprint. You just get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm praying for you. I'm praying that you continue to get through it. I'm praying that you continue to get through it with a lot of laughter, with a lot of love, and with a limitless mindset. I know that you will. Lauren Lake, I can't thank you enough for being here.
I thank you. I've had a blast. I love you, and I'm so proud of you too and all that you're doing.
Oh, Mama, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. You are someone who inspires me and motivates me every single day, every conversation we've ever had, every time we don't even have to have a conversation. Every time I see your face, every time I see what you're doing, we've had a couple of women, well, all of the women really, but we've had women on this show who are doing magical things. And I include you in that number of magical women who just run out there and do it. No rhyme or reason, doesn't make sense. Just don't let don't let an experience, the lack of opportunity or possibility keep them from doing what it is they want to do. I love looking up and seeing women like you just throwing caution to the wind and saying, I'm going to produce this show. I'm going to just launch this network. Doesn't matter that there was a whole pandemic and the show that I was working on before is no longer. I got another one. I got 89 or 87, however many we said at the beginning.
Well, 87 ideas.
I can do this.
And you have to, my thing was I knew it was a value and I didn't have time convincing everybody else that it was a value. So if it was a value, I'm going to do it myself, just like you're doing this. And I mean, and you
Yeah.
do the same things. You do it all the time with
Yeah.
all of your products and your things. And I mean, even through the years, you've shown up at my Limitless Live event. You showed up,
Of
came
course.
there, supported women, community. I'm just a believer that when you put it out there, it's going to come back to you.
Yeah.
And, I try to encourage and empower other people to live their limitless lives. And then when I was in that moment and I needed it, that energy came back to me, and my
Yeah.
girlfriends were sitting there by my side. Well, then let's do it then. Let's find some camera people. Let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And guess what? All of the stories were already in my emails. The people that I'm helping now were
Yes.
people who had reached out to me for paternity court,
Yes.
and they couldn't
Yes.
get on there because of, it had ended. And so now we're here.
I think at the beginning of this, I said you were the true example of life's infinite possibilities, right? I'm reminded of another quote that I use often, and this just totally encapsulates in this moment who you are. God does not call the prepared, He prepares the called. You have
Amen.
not sat down and waited on anything. You just said you answered the call, and God is giving you everything that you needed in order to fulfill your destiny and help others fulfill theirs as well. So I thank you so much for heeding that call, for being a steward of the word, for recognizing and listening and living your purpose and being the limitless Lauren Lake. I just can't thank you enough for joining us today. And friends, if you are looking for empowerment, inspiration, motivation, laughter, limitless possibilities, I want you to follow Lauren over on Instagram at Judge Lauren Lake TV and her new series on YouTube, Paternity Matters, at Judge Lauren Lake TV. Is there anything else you want to share? Anything else people need to be doing, following, sharing,
Well, and if you
subscribing?
want to
What can we
join my
do?
Limitless League and you want to talk about limitless possibilities, actually, I'm going to go live a little later on that. I have the Lauren Lake Limitless page
Perfect.
as well. And you can check into
Perfect.
laurenlake.com for more updates on me and what I'm doing. And we can stay
Yes.
connected and join the email list so that I know who you are and we can stay connected. But I love you and I thank you for this opportunity to come on and chat with you, Dr. Tiff. You are amazing. Keep
Yes.
doing what you're doing
Thank you.
and keep being
Thank
your
you.
limitless self, because we need you to
Thank you
show
so
up with
much.
all of your limitless gifts as well.
Whew. Thank you for that. And I will receive it and I will continue to try my best to do it. I
Good.
promise you that I will. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff. If you're hearing this episode, I'm hoping that you're watching the episode on Spotify. That's right. You can watch it on Spotify, as well as listen on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, just wherever you listen to your podcast. But you can watch it. Watch it on Spotify and on YouTube, by the way. You guys have been so great with putting your questions in. Continue to send in those questions down in the show notes where you can ask us any question that you want answered on the podcast. We will bundle those up for another episode of Ask Dr. Tiff. And if there's anything else that you would like to see on the podcast, please suggest it, because we're open. We're open. We're always looking for new and exciting content and guests. And we just so appreciate all of you for riding with us, liking, comment, sharing, and subscribing. Until next week, guys. Ciao.